The U.S.'s top diplomat has left the Middle East with no ceasefire in hand. After visits to Israel, Egypt, and Qatar, Antony Blinken warned that time is of the essence. While Benjamin Netanyahu has accepted a proposal to bridge gaps, the focus now shifting to mediators to do everything possible to get Hamas on board. This as talks are due to resume in Cairo. For more on this story, we can bring in our chief foreign editor, Rob Parsons. Rob, good afternoon. Yes, Antony Blinken may have left empty-handed, but the game isn't over, is it?
Not by a long way. First of all, the talks continue, as you point out, in Qatar, as they have been for some time. The problem, though, is that Antony Blinken went to the Middle East in the hope of pushing Hamas and Israel to take the final step to get that ceasefire agreement into place. And all the talk was of this bridging agreement, the details of which we don't really know. Yeah. But it is meant to bring the two sides closer together on that ceasefire plan that was presented, presented by Joe Biden, but allegedly originating from the Israeli side, although Israel prevaricated over whether it was really involved in that or not. And according to Antony Blinken, some progress was made. He said that the Israelis accepted the bridging plan. And then we had Benjamin Netanyahu, according to an Israeli media source, saying that he had spoken clearly to Antony Blinken, and Blinken had accepted his position, which was that Israel would retain control over key strategic military and political assets, including, one is led to understand, the Philadelphia corridor, which is the one that runs along the border between Gaza and Egypt, the south of the Gaza Strip, and the Netzarim corridor, which bisects the Gaza Strip, and that Israel would check people crossing from the south into the north to ensure that they weren't carrying weapons. That's absolutely unacceptable to Hamas and is not part of the original deal. Antony Blinken has since made clear that Netanyahu's comments, if indeed he did make them to the Israeli outlet, are not constructive and they were maximalist and made clear that he's pretty irritated by them. Hamas, from its point of view, is saying that the bridging agreement still veers too close to Israel. So despite what the Americans and other mediators are saying, not an awful lot of progress seems to have been made at this stage.
And Rob, all this is happening while Iran and Hezbollah sit on their hands and mull their response to the recent targeting of, Hezbollah for its general in Lebanon and Iran for the killing of Hamas's Ismail Haniyeh over in Tehran.
Yes, well, that's absolutely right. Iran has said that it reserves the right to take military action against Israel for the killing of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran the day after the inauguration of the new Iranian president. It's not saying how it's going to strike or when it's going to strike, and an enormous amount of diplomatic effort has been put into preventing Iran going ahead with that. European heads of state, the Americans have been pressing. Qatar has been in negotiations, keeping Iran informed of how the mediation efforts are going on in Qatar between Hamas and Israel. And so far, Iran has not taken the fateful step. One has to assume that part of the reason for that is Iran does not want to have to be forced into taking that fatal step because it knows there will be consequences.
Even though it has to save face on some level. But
exactly, it has to save face. And one imagines what it's hoping is that a deal will be struck on Gaza, at which it can say, okay, honor saved. The most important is we've got a peace deal in the Middle East, and it can
back away
from the need for retaliation against Israel in the hope that it will be gradually forgotten. But at the moment, the problem for Iran is that peace deal is still elusive.
We'll see if Tehran manages to pressure Hamas to accepting the deal, or we'll see. Thank you very much for that, Rob Parsons there.